As we stepped onto the pristine docks of Oasis, the iron veins were immediately whisked away toward what appeared to be the main resort, gleaming white buildings that sparkled like jewels against the tropical landscape. We, however, were directed in quite a different direction, as our accommodations were considerably more rustic, a collection of well-maintained but simple huts arranged in a semicircle behind towering waterfalls. The thunderous water provided natural soundproofing, whether for privacy or containment I couldn't yet say.
Secluded, surrounded by nature, away from the guests and the rest of Oasis. Good. The regent, or chieftain, of the huts is known as Omari. He is constantly pleasant and cheerful. It is off-putting. In my experience, those who are of such a disposition are either stupid or hiding their true nature behind mirth and glee. Time will tell which sort this Omari is.
I don't trust this Agnes that came to visit. For one, the way she moved made it clear she was much more than a cheery, nice person who uses cuddly magic. Oh, she's definitely a magic user, and a powerful one to be sure. The kind who could turn you into a toad if you looked at her wrong. I just get an uneasy feeling in my stomach standing close to her. And when you understand how important a halfling's stomach is when making decisions, you'll start to glom how I feel about Agnes. And my tum is spot on again. Out came the lanyards. Standard security equipment, Agnes said, but I'd been in enough sticky situations to recognize magical restraints when I saw them. The moment they settled around our necks, I felt trapped, like more than I already do. Fucking Agnes.
The lanyards were beautifully crafted, intricate runic patterns woven with threads that seemed to shimmer between dimensions. But when I tried to cast a simple cantrip to examine them more closely, it felt like trying to channel magic through molasses. Agnes showed us how they worked. Guests at the resort wore matching rings that could influence our lanyards. So, like by influence, she meant cause incredible amounts of pain to the nervous system. For everyone's safety, she said cheerfully. The magic was incredibly sophisticated and incredibly terrifying. Oh, and incredibly painful, according to Agmal. Yeah. Did I mention we can't remove them? Probably not without magic anyway, and powerful magic at that. More powerful than any of us can conjure or curse up. At least the lanyards are a neutral color. No problem matching these with most of the wardrobe I brought. So, in summation, lanyard pain, boo, lanyard color, yay?
Then it was time to meet the heads of security, our bosses. Captain Thorne was exactly what you'd expect from someone running security at a luxury resort. Pressed uniform, military bearing, and the kind of confidence that comes from believing in your own invincibility. He stood at attention, gesturing to maps while explaining how perfectly safe Oasis was. Then, mid-speech about how nothing dangerous ever happened here, and he takes a poisoned bolt to the shoulder. The look of shocked betrayal on his face was almost worth the trip. Almost. Rather nasty poison as well, based on the almost immediate tissue breakdown and, well, all the frothing at the mouth.
What he said would not happen. In fact, actually did happen. Wonderful. Anyway, the bolt came from the northeast, among the ornamental gardens. Without hesitation, the giant kin and I gave chase while the others dealt with the immediate scene. I craved action, purpose, movement. Hunting an assassin would do nicely.
The assassin moved with professional skill, choosing paths that would funnel pursuit into predictable routes. Our companions were systematically separated from us by what seemed like convenient obstacles. Using what gifts are my blood right, I was able to keep up with Kavi and the assassin as we all sped through the chaos of Oasis.
The assassin had prepared well. As I vaulted a decorative fountain, a chandelier the size of a room crashed down upon me. Crystal shards embedded themselves in my arms and face and head. I was able to get up and continue the pursuit, the ancestors' magic speeding my feet. As I may have mentioned, being stabbed does not hold the same hindrances for me as it does for those who are alive. However, the large shard of glass embedded in my shoulder did grind uncomfortably with the bone as I sprinted through the resort. I did my best to ignore it.
Throughout the chase, the would-be assassin kept calling out to us that Oasis wasn't a good place and that these are bad people. As we entered the large glass structure that housed many strange plants and animals, we lost our quarry. All that was left was a perfectly circular hole in the glass large enough for a humanoid to slip through. And a note. The note was hastily written but clear. It mentioned a meeting place called the Dragon and a time 3 nights from now. Something told me this information was important, dangerous, and definitely not something to share with everyone else just yet. I hid the note in my jerkin.
We had to report to the acting head of security, this sort of really angry woman who kept angrily writing things down on a clipboard and asking if we'd seen anything suspicious. Apparently, everyone was suspicious on Oasis, except for the actual assassin who just, actually poisoned their boss. Captain Thorne would recover, they assured us, though it might take some time. It was just this kind of, minor poisoning or whatever. Pretty cray first day on security detail, though, right? But apparently there was more to do.
As compensation for our unfortunate first day, we were invited to dine with the actual resort guests. A chance to see how the other half lived, meals that didn't come with debt attached, and, most importantly, for me at least, an opportunity to study the real money on this island. The dining area was a study in uncontrolled extravagance. Real gold leaf on the walls, crystal that sang when you tapped it, and food that cost more per bite than most people earned in half a lifetime. But the really interesting thing was the guests themselves.
Something was off about several of the guests, not just wealthy and pampered, actively younger than they should have been. Skin too tight, hair too lustrous, movements too fluid. Whatever treatments Oasis offered went far beyond simple spa services. And there he was, Lord Pennington, the monster who'd commissioned the unicorn's death. He stood proudly displaying some massive fish he'd caught, regaling the room with tales of his hunting prowess. My claws itched just looking at him. I needed to make sure he didn't see me. It wasn't easy, but I managed to remain unnoticed for the evening.
Time for a little performance art. I approached one of these older ladies, you know the type, dripping in jewels that practically screamed, "Steal me." After I had her convinced she knew who I was, I got the band to strike up The Bull and the Maiden, and the rest is... well, I'm working on it. It's a long con. The con is long and takes some time, right?
I ended up seated with some academic elves from the Celestial University of Arcane Studies. They were researching something they called biological magical resonance manipulation or whatever, which sounds very impressive, but all it did was make me think about school and my dad and, how I got here and all that barf, and it didn't make me feel too great, you guys. And then their protege, Alana, barely spoke during dinner. When she did, it was in short, clipped sentences that suggested she knew things the others didn't. She seemed really familiar, which, made me feel super uneasy because, that sort of thing never works out really well for me.
After dinner, we were directed to sign up for our first official duties. The assignment board offered various options: harbor patrol, wilderness reconnaissance, guest relations, and something called beach party security. Having had enough adventure for one day, we unanimously chose what seemed like the most peaceful option. Beach party security it would be, then. How dangerous could that possibly be on a tropical paradise? As we retired to our separate quarters, I found myself wondering what Oasis would show us tomorrow. The note in my pocket felt heavier with each passing hour.
Back in my room, I was just settling down to sleep when I heard scratching under the bed. Probably just hearing things, I thought, or imagining things. Or, fairies have wild thoughts running through our heads. Oh, pretty much all the time, you guys. So, maybe it was that? Wild racing, crazy wild fairy thoughts? Yeah, that's it. Just wild thoughts. Like, did you know that butterflies can see ultraviolet colors, which means they probably see flowers in ways we can't even imagine? But then, and I understand that this is reductive, they probably don't appreciate them on any real aesthetic level. So then why do they see them that way? It doesn't make sense, at least not in any way I'm aware of. And speaking of flowers, the ones here smell like vanilla mixed with ozone, which usually means transmutation magic, but could also mean they're artificially enhanced, or maybe the soil has trace amounts of elemental crystal dust, which would explain why everything grows so perfectly, and, yeah. Wild thoughts like that. Still, that sound. Is that movement?
The scream that pierced the night was distinctly fairy-like. Tizzy. I didn't have time to put on clothes. I grabbed my scimitars and sprinted for her room. Although, I wasn't exactly sure which room was hers. Bah, no matter. Doors are meant to be opened or, in times such as this, destroyed in whichever manner is most expeditious. Let the ancestors guide my hands. And feet.
That gross, skeevy little perv halfling Maury stabbed me. Like, I know I melted his friend or whatever, but what? So, you go and desert your job and stalk me and hide out in my pillowcase all day and then, pop out like some skinny, scabies-ridden drifter and just, I don't know, stab me with, some rusty, jagged sailor shank? Seriously. What the fucking fuck, dude?
Motherfucking Oasis!